We want to know what drives you. Is it the money? Is it the fame? Or just the power of succeeding? What keeps you motivated? I mean, through all these different fields, you've gone on to successfully kind of start companies that are worth millions of dollars now, literally. And it's not even a catchphrase, they're literally worth millions of dollars. A lot of young people, what we saw was the people that requested you. A lot of them kind of look at you as a beacon of hope and possibility. They're like, if Bhanuka could do it, maybe we can too. And the question is, what is the magic ingredient when it comes to starting a company that's so successful? It's understood that your workload is typically insane. You're living 24/7, thinking, breathing, kind of living through a brand or a service. And how do you manage your workload?
Do you want me to be blatantly honest?
Yeah.
I have a really shitty approach to work-life balance. Do not try to imitate it. I overwork myself and burn out, and it's this repetitive cycle which is not healthy.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus, driven by you.
You asked for him and we found him. Bhanuka Harischandra, founder of Surge and Rooster. Now he started companies worth millions of dollars. And if you've been wondering, how does a Sri Lankan guy who's a gamer, go from being a gamer on YouTube to founding companies worth millions of dollars? We're going to sit down and find out. Thank you for joining us. This is The Hot Seat with Bhanuka Harischandra.
Thank you so much for having me. It's looking forward to this.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go through your list of accolades and just to break it in a nutshell, because you all know him for different things, okay? So we're going to start off with, you are a multi-million view generating gamer on YouTube, which is an interesting career. Every kid dreams of being one someday. But, there is a whole backstory to what happened to that. You went on to found Surge. You founded Surge, Rooster, which are huge companies at this point in time, featured on the Forbes 30 Under 30, the Insta fame, which I suppose came with it. You are now a phenomenon on TikTok. We want to know what drives you. Is it the money? Is it the fame? Or just the power of succeeding? What keeps you motivated? I mean, through all these different fields.
So I don't think it's just one thing that I like to do. It's purely the fact that it's always fun to solve problems. The money and everything else is really just a result of one problem being solved. It's not like we go out and try to build companies. It's more of we see a problem, we find out that it's a really annoying one for ourselves and also for a bunch of other people. Let's figure out what's the easiest or best way to fix it. And, one thing leads to another. And that's kind of how all of these things came together.
Now, what we want to know is, you've gone on to successfully kind of start companies that are worth millions of dollars now, literally. And it's not even a catchphrase, they're literally worth millions of dollars. A lot of young people, what we saw was the people that requested you. A lot of them kind of look at you as a beacon of hope and possibility. They're like, if Bhanuka could do it, maybe we can too. And the question is, what is the magic ingredient when it comes to starting a company that's so successful? Is it emulating another successful model? Are you looking for a particular gap and then you're trying to fill that in, or you're creating a new need for people? What do you specify as the special ingredient?
So there's a lot of different ways to look at this, and I think the way we've built companies over the years have changed quite a lot. If you look at the way Surge started, it was mostly us stumbling around, and it was a really slow growth. We make millions of dollars now, but the business has been running for 7 years. It started really small. And it was really, us understanding that. I'll give a little bit of backstory. So the way we started was, we were a gaming network, which is essentially, we got a whole bunch of content creators around the world and helped them monetize their videos on YouTube. And when we say their videos, it was basically 16-year-olds playing Minecraft around the world, right? And it made some sense, and randomly one day YouTube decided to shut us down and said, hey, we are only allowing monetization if you fit within this framework. And from a list of selected countries, Sri Lanka wasn't a part of that equation. When we were shut down, a couple of companies reached out to us and said, hey, look, you guys have kind of cracked this YouTube code for gaming. We don't really need help with gaming, but can you help us create the content? All this time, we knew video and gaming as we can generate ad revenue based on the views we got. It was never a, we'll pay you for the content creation itself. So it was a little like light bulb moment for us. Like now content creation as a service, obviously it's like everyone knows about it. Back in 2013, it was like, are you for real? So we saw that as an opportunity. We kind of shut down the whole gaming thing because it wasn't working out for us. And we moved into content creation for brands. Slowly realized, hey, if brands needed help with their YouTube channel content, they may need help with their social media, their websites, analytics. And it was really a natural progression of us going to companies and saying, hey, what problems do you have? And us coming in and saying, hey, this is how we would potentially solve it. So it was a really slow moving process. I guess the last couple of years has been quite an accelerant. We've been doubling year over year now. And over the last year, we've gone from a team of about 45 to this month, we'll be hitting a team of 100. So it's an interesting journey, and we've kind of figured out, okay, Surge is this, consultancy that focuses on technology to help companies solve problems, which inevitably drives growth. And that wasn't, us looking at a pre-existing business. It was us really stumbling our way through. Rooster, completely different scenario. We were much more mature when we tackled that problem. As Surge was growing, we realized recruitment is one of the most complicated problems. People here don't have recruitment technology. The global recruitment technology that's expensive, that's out there is really expensive. To give context, the leading applicant tracking system, which is what you call the technology stack that you use to manage hiring, it's about $22,000 a year for a license, which doesn't make sense for anyone across South Asia where cost of labor is, lower than the actual cost of the technology.
Right.
So we decided, how can we make this accessible? And we, spent a year trying to figure out how to cut the cost of that product. And Rooster was a byproduct of us saying, hey, we can make this 10 to 99 times cheaper. So let's give it a shot. And then, obviously the financial modeling and things like that have to come into place. It needs to make sense. But the way we, have grown these independent businesses are different. And it comes with the fact of our understanding of industry, our understanding of markets, and our maturity in the financial space, which compared to 2013 Bhanuka, who played video games 18 hours a day versus me now, is very different.
Right.
So we can, Rooster recently closed a round of funding for a seed round as we launched a year in, which valued the company at about $5 million or a billion rupees, which, for a business that doesn't really make any money, that's pretty tough to do.
Yeah.
So, and it comes from that experience. It comes from being able to identify a problem, show the pathway of fixing it, and then demonstrating the financial viability of it as well. But I don't think there's a single answer to that, and it really just depends.
By the way, before I move on to the next question, what does success smell like? I mean, given the kind of success you've been seeing lately.
I have a cold right now. I don't really know.
You don't think about it?
So, I mean, it depends. If I don't think what I have is success. I mean, looking at it from the outside, it may look pretty, but like it's just pretty much the same thing that we were doing. Obviously, things have gotten a little cushier and a little more comfortable and relaxed because you are no longer fighting the battle alone. You have a pretty good team that are, incredibly competent, incredibly well compensated for the battles that they're fighting, which makes things a lot easier.
Right.
But I mean, it really is at the end of the day the same thing.
Right. Incredible. Now moving on to the next question. You come from a background where you created content. And for anyone who's now in the corporate world, you might be handling a corporate or a commercial social media account, a marketing campaign. It's understood that your workload is typically insane. You're living 24/7, thinking, breathing, kind of living through a brand or a service. And, how do you manage your workload? And, I know you have a great team now, but still, how do you just keep it all together? We've heard about, your approach to the work environment, how it's different at Surge and, people love it. How do you approach that? What change are you looking to make in that kind of, in that environment?
Do you want me to be blatantly honest?
Yeah.
I have a really shitty approach to work-life balance. Do not try to imitate it. I overwork myself and burn out, and it's this repetitive cycle which is not healthy. I don't endorse it. I think what we are trying to do is build a culture where that's not the case, where there's incredible amounts of automation, transparency, and communication between the organization, where that doesn't need to happen. The reason that I do it is I get bored, I do things, and then I realize I've overdone it. I've, at least over the last couple of years, I put more time into myself, my health, sleeping more, and taking weekends off. But it's kind of like a slow learning process for me because I've just not been used to it. It's a new feeling. But I don't have a good answer to this. I think culturally as an organization, we're doing pretty well. Compared to the industry, I think we're doing way ahead of that. But it's not easy. It's a really tough one because we kind of pride ourselves as consultants that are, kind of always ready, always on demand, ready to tackle the problem. Because we work across, I think, 8 or 9 different time zones now. Right. And so you're always on, right? Yeah. So managing the team and making sure that the team doesn't burn out and that everyone, or at least majority of the team, can clock off at 6 p.m. is kind of the goal. What we've invariably realized is as you climb up the proverbial ladder, it just becomes a little harder. Like I have calls with our C-level team over the weekend. I don't think we'll come to a point anytime soon where that's going to stop. But for 80 to 90% of the team, it's a manageable way.
Yeah, and to be honest, whatever you're doing, man, it's working. Because people absolutely love working at Surge. But anyway, that being said, you talk about health, and Bhanuka, you documented how you lost close to, and when I say documented, down to the finest detail on your site. And you lost close to 100 pounds in 100 days. Incredible feat. How do you stay healthy given that your job involves you staring at a screen at a desk for a long time? What habits have you picked up now that you said you are taking care of yourself better?
So the days of, like back in 2013, I used to weigh about 128 kilograms. Not healthy at all. I was a typical video gamer that would stay in front of the computer, order like a full chicken bucket and finish it while playing League of Legends and whatever, right? Yeah. This is a terrible way to live. I have a very specific genetic condition called ankylosing spondylitis. It's basically the cartilage between your joints slowly disappear and fuses together and causes paralysis. It's an autoimmune disease, so it doesn't really have a cure. You have medication to prevent the progression of the disease. Now, the problem with that is the heavier you are, the tougher it is on your joints and the more chronic pain that you have to deal with. Right. I think it was really bad in 2016 where there were like months where I just couldn't get out of bed and walk. So the motivation of doing it was really, you can do it or you're going to die. So which is a really nice motivator. And the reason I decided to throw it on social media was really just the fact that I wanted to feel accountable to a third party. And so I was basically sharing my statistics. I used MyFitnessPal to count every single calorie I ate because the math made sense. I know a calorie isn't a calorie in some situations, but for the overwhelming majority, if you are, incredibly obese or morbidly overweight, 3,500 calories is a pound of weight. It makes sense. Just track the data and go forward. So I just, documented everything I ate and I shared it online. And I figured, look, if I have a week where I have to post my update and lost a single kilo, that looks bad. Yeah. So what I did was I structured literally everything I could. I ate a salad from Subway, a roast chicken salad, because I could count the calories in that specifically. Right. And I had a Diet Coke twice a day, every day for those 100 days. It was stupid. To this date, if I try to order a salad from Subway, I kind of throw up a little. But it works because, control calorie, and then everything else was just cardio. I walked as much as I could. Yeah. I ran as much as I could. Even to this day, I try to get 10,000 steps in. I've gone from 128 to 74, and then I now fluctuate between 76 and 78. Right. I'm less hard on myself. But really, what I've been doing is trying, like now you've tracked calories so much that when you kind of look at food, you understand the general composition of what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
And you just try to, manage it. I'm not as paranoid about the food anymore, but I try to get my steps in. I walk as much as I can. The good thing about the type of work that we do is very, at least on the search front, it's a lot of phone calls and client meetings, which are things that you can have on your phone while you walk around.
Right.
So I do that to get my steps in, and really that's most of the workout I get. Plus I try to hit the gym at least an hour or two a week, but that's pretty much it. And it, works.
Yeah. In 10 years, what do you hope you'll be doing more of though?
I don't know. So the way that I approach this is it depends on the problems that we faced and what we built to solve it. I enjoy the process of building things to solve these problems. And I think the one thing that I would want to do at some point in my career is IPO. I think that's a really cool,
nice.
Like if you're, in anyone's career, that's kind of like that final goal you want to hit. You want to ring the bell at a stock exchange and say, we're alive.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I would really like to achieve in the next 10 years. It's an incredibly complicated feat because of the regulations, because of the red tape. And once you do it, there's a whole bunch of ramifications and liabilities and complexities of being a publicly listed company. But I think that is definitely something that I'm looking at one point.
Amazing. Bhanuka.
I'm not sure which business or how or why or any of that. It's just like a childhood dream type thing.
Amazing. Okay. And listen, if I were to bet on you going IPO with any of your companies anytime soon, listen, man, we're all in. But thank you, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for opening the doors and letting us into your kind of the back end. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much. And where can people find you, Bhanuka, on social media, online?
I'm pretty active on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my social media time. The handle is @Banoob, which is it was used to be my gamer tag back in the day. Haven't changed it. As well as if you have like any professional inquiries or stuff like that, you can reach out to Serge or message me on LinkedIn and I can try to direct you in the right place.
Bhanuka, thank you so much. There you have it, guys. The Hot Seat brought to you by Sri Lanka Insurance. Bhanuka Harischandra, founder of Surge, Rooster, and so much more. Bhanuka, thank you so much. The Hot Seat Business Edition is brought to you by Sri Lanka Insurance. Be sure to like, share the video, and stay tuned for more. Who would you like to see next on the Hot Seat? Drop it in the comments below. My name's Lloyd. Till next time, goodbye.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus.